Okay, so trying to get a handle on AI, right? Like, you've got articles stacked up, you hear about GPT's this, GPT's that.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Totally. And like, who's got time to become a coder, right? Just to even know what's useful.
Right.
So get this. You shared that Matt Wolf video. 15 custom GPTs. The one on YouTube.
Yeah.
Turns out these custom GPTs, those AI shortcuts everyone talks about,
Yeah.
it's like a whole team of experts, but on speed dial, no coding required.
That's what's wild, right? We're past just chatting with AI. Now it's like specialized tools. They do specific things, and they're good at it. Like surprisingly accurate, almost like your own personal assistant, but for, well, almost anything.
Okay, some of Wolf's examples, they're mind-blowing. He talks about sous chef. This GPT, you show it a picture of your fridge, and it tells you what to cook. Like what?
Sous chef is interesting because it shows where AI is going. It's not just like reading recipes anymore. It's looking at your picture, and actually understanding it to give you suggestions.
So it's not just dinner then, right? Imagine, like, a GPT for your closet. Takes a photo, tells you what to wear, how to organize.
Exactly. Home projects, fashion advice. It's beyond what we usually think of for AI, the possibilities, I mean.
See, this is why I love these deep dives. Mind blown, 5 minutes in. But real quick, a lot of these GPTs, they're all about saving time. And who couldn't use more of that?
Right.
Wolf talks about Video Summarizer AI, basically Cliff Notes, but for YouTube. It watches for you, even suggests follow-up questions, like perfect if you're big on learning, but, short on time.
And that's the thing. It's not replacing us. It's more like AI is giving us a boost. Video Summarizer. It's not saying don't learn. It's saying, let me handle the overload so you can get to the good stuff, the deep thinking, the insights, the stuff humans are good at.
Music to my ears. So not just for, like, making cool Instagram posts then, though that designer GPT thing Wolf mentions sounds kind of amazing for that.
Not at all. It's incredibly diverse what these can do. Take Jameer, for example. It's like a coding assistant. You tell it what you want, it builds a basic website, even simple games.
Wait, seriously, like I could say, Jameer, make me a side-scrolling game, and it just does it.
Well, you might need to, work with it a bit.
Yeah.
Especially for something complex. But that's the point. These tools, they're making creators out of users, not just consuming anymore.
Okay, mind officially blown. So for anyone listening, probably as wowed by this as I am, what's the big takeaway?
Things are changing fast. Don't be afraid to jump in, try stuff out, find what works for you. Because AI is powerful, sure, but it's your thinking, your creativity. That's what really makes it transformative.
Love that. It's not AI taking over, it's us taking control, shaping AI to, work for us. Speaking of, Wolf gets into some specific GPTs, ones that are already making waves. One that caught my eye was Video AI by NVIDIA. Familiar with that one?
Oh, definitely. Video AI, that's a perfect example of like AI's creative potential. Basically, you give it text prompts, it turns them into full-on videos.
Seriously, like I could say, make me a YouTube video about the history of coffee, and it just does it with visuals and everything.
Yep. Script, voiceover, music. Even pulls visuals from its database to mash what you're saying.
So it's like, what, a whole film crew, but at my command, I give it the ideas, boom, instant video.
You could say that, and you can customize it too. Like, want a British narrator? Sounds kind of, I don't know, dryly amused. You can do that. Or the music. Maybe instead of big orchestral stuff, you want something more indie, upbeat.
Yeah.
Lets you get specific.
Okay, that's wild. Mini Hollywood studio, right on my laptop. But beyond the wow factor, I'm guessing this has some seriously practical uses, right?
Oh, tons. Great marketing, education, even internal stuff for companies.
Oh.
Or just like spicing up your home videos from vacation. The amount of time, the effort it saves, that's huge.
That's a good point. It's not just about flashy videos. It's about making things easier, giving people the tools to actually communicate better.
Yep.
Now, switching gears from video to something else that always feels overwhelming, design. You remember Designer GPT? We touched on it earlier. Feels like that one could be huge for anyone who's ever struggled to make like a good-looking website.
It really changes the game for web design. You don't need to be a coding whiz anymore.
Yeah.
You just tell Designer GPT what you want. Like, imagine a sleek blog, minimalist, or maybe a really eye-catching online store, all bright colors. It builds that basic framework for you.
So it's like your personal web designer on call 24/7, but without like the hefty bill?
Pretty much. And what's cool is you can keep refining it with the AI. Want different colors?
Yeah.
More images? Just tell it. It adjusts.
That's amazing. Takes all the guesswork out, makes it way more approachable, even for someone like me who can barely understand HTML. This whole back and forth, creating and getting feedback seems like that's key with these custom GPTs.
It is. It's a partnership, not just you giving orders. You're working with the AI to get what you want. And that's really clear with another one Wolf talks about, Gumir, the coding one. It's the perfect example of AI helping you get into stuff that seems complicated. Like you said about the side-scrolling game with Gumir, you could actually try that. Tell it, make a basic side-scroller. It gives you the code framework.
Wow. It's like having a coding tutor, but right there in the code with you. You touched on this, though it's not always a one-and-done thing, right? Especially for bigger projects.
Right. Something like a game. Yeah, you'd probably start with what Gumir gives you, then build on it. Your own ideas, those extra features. But being able to go back and forth, get feedback from the AI as you go, that's what's huge.
Like a brainstorming buddy who also speaks fluent coding language, it really shows how this levels the playing field. It's not just for the programmers anymore.
Exactly. And it's not just coding either. This whole making knowledge available, it's happening everywhere. Tools are popping up left and right. People are trying new things, getting better at what they already do, even challenging the whole idea of what it means to be an expert.
It's like the Wild West, but in a good way. So much potential. Speaking of which, Wolf talks about this whole ecosystem popping up around custom GPTs. Made me think of the early days of smartphone apps.
Right.
Everyone suddenly got an idea and a way to actually make it happen.
It is a lot like that. He mentions this thing called the GPT store, basically like an app store, but for GPTs. Developers share what they've made. Users can find the tools they need.
So it's not just solo developers off doing their own thing. It's a community, right? People connect, share ideas, build new stuff together.
Exactly. And that shows in just how many different GPTs are already out there. We've got ones for productivity, creative stuff, even just for fun, like that Simpsons character generator you were talking about.
Which is hilarious, by the way. But it shows how this tech is getting into everything. It's not just serious business uses anymore. It's about entertainment, creativity, even just messing around with AI.
Exactly. And the more people who get involved, the more we'll see that variety explode. Honestly, we're just scratching the surface here.
It's exciting, but kind of daunting, right? This is something big happening right now, and it's almost impossible to imagine where it goes next.
Absolutely. But we have to remember, we're the ones in control. AI is a tool. And just like any tool, what it does depends on us.
Good point. It's not AI taking over, it's us taking the wheel, right?
Yeah.
So as we're navigating all this, custom GPTs everywhere, what are some things to keep in mind?
Well, first off, don't be afraid to try stuff. Dive in, see what's out there, what works for you. Like trying on hats, got to see what fits.
Love that. It's all about being curious, seeing what's out there.
Exactly. And as you're doing that, remember, this is collaborative. If you got feedback, tell the developers. Share your ideas. Be part of it. Your input matters.
Be an active part of it, not just watching from the sidelines.
Exactly. And lastly, as amazing as AI is, we can't forget about our good stuff. Human ingenuity, creativity. That's what'll shape AI in the end.
Such a good point. It's easy to get caught up in the hype, think AI is going to replace us, but it's really about making us better, not obsolete.
Right. Enhance what we can do, handle the tedious stuff, even give us new tools to be creative. But our thinking, empathy, imagination, that human stuff, that's always going to be essential.
And that's what'll make sure we use AI the right way, ethically. You mentioned APIs earlier. Wolf seems to think those are a big deal for custom GPTs.
Oh, they're crucial. APIs, it stands for Application Programming Interface, but basically think of it like connectors. Let different programs talk to each other.
So for these custom GPTs, APIs are how developers plug into things that already exist, like databases, other platforms.
Exactly. Imagine you're building a GPT, and you want it to have access to, a huge library of images. Instead of building that whole thing yourself, an API lets you connect to one that already exists.
Makes sense. Like building a house. You don't have to make every single brick. You can use pre-made ones, focus on the design, how it all works together.
Exactly. And more companies, they're opening up their APIs to developers. So we'll see even more of these GPTs, even more creative, more powerful, and they'll just plug right into the stuff we're already using every day.
It's amazing to think about. It really shows how this isn't just some separate tech thing. It's changing how we do everything with technology, with information. It's all about breaking down walls, working together.
I completely agree. And speaking of breaking down walls, remember those research GPTs we talked about? like Consensus, Scholar GPT. It's incredible how AI is changing how we learn, how knowledge is shared.
Absolutely. Tools like that, it's like leveling the playing field for students, researchers, anyone who wants to learn. Instead of digging through mountains of papers, you just ask AI to sum it up, give you the latest with citations, links.
It's huge, especially if you've ever felt overwhelmed by just how much information is out there. Like having a team of researchers working for you, finding the stuff you need.
Like a personal AI-powered library.
Exactly. And as these tools get better, we'll see even more uses. In education, research, the possibilities are endless.
It's like anyone could be a part of this whole global conversation about ideas, not just the people who've, studied it for years. Feels like a real turning point in how we learn, how we share what we know.
You said it. Making knowledge available to everyone, helping people reach their potential. And that brings us back to something Wolf really emphasized, this idea that AI is not about replacing us, it's about giving us a boost.
Totally. It's not like these custom GPTs are here to make us obsolete. If anything, they're giving us the power to do more, learn faster, build things we never thought we could.
Pushing the boundaries, right. Going beyond what we think we're limited to and, exploring new stuff in knowledge, creativity, innovation.
Like we're entering this whole new world where human intelligence, artificial intelligence, they work together. Not one taking over the other, but complementing each other to create something totally new.
And that's what will shape the future of AI, that teamwork. It's on us to make sure we use it the right way, to benefit everyone.
Make sure AI serves us, not the other way around. And that's something I picked up on from Wolf, too, this idea of like a call to action. Don't just sit back and watch AI happen to you. Get in there and build something.
Yeah, be a part of shaping it. Don't be a bystander.
And the way to do that is just dive in,
Yeah.
right? Try it out. Let your mind go wild with it.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to get in there and see what happens. You might just surprise yourself.
Love that. Well, that's about all the time we have for this deep dive on custom GPTs. But before we go, one last question for you and for everyone listening. If you could build a custom GPT, what would it do? What problem would it solve? What amazing thing would it create? Let us know. We'd love to hear your ideas. Until next time, happy exploring.